Whether it's elaborate floral displays at fashion shows, extravagant wedding decorations, or just simply creating a festive atmosphere for a cocktail party or launch event, one call to the Wunderkammer and they will come up with a beautiful concept in the blink of an eye. One of the leading florists in the world, the company is responsible for many international floral designs for magazines, weddings, business events, and more. We recently spoke to co-founder Florian Seyd, who was keen to tell us everything about his business.
Our company is based in Amsterdam, and since 12 years we're trying to make people as happy as we can with flowers and plants. I do believe that flowers and plants have something that makes everybody happy immediately. I mean, normally if you have flowers or plants in your hand and you show it to people already, you get a smile. So I think there's the certain power of the flower factor. But next to it, we try with our creativity and our knowledge to create floral amazement so that people really see something that inspires them and makes them enjoy flowers more.
Having really made a name for themselves in the last few years, the Wunderkammer team is frequently asked to cater some of the biggest events. For instance, they provided all the floral arrangements for the wedding of Russian supermodel Natasha Poli in Saint-Tropez.
Her idea was that she wanted to marry a little bit in a fairy tale, and she wanted to be something light and flowy. And so what we created were like really big pillars of white roses and orchids that were hanging from the ceiling. And actually it made a little bit of a runway. It was like the aisle, it was not a real church, but there was like an aisle with a white carpet, and those hanging pillars were around that aisle, ending to the altar where they were married, with two very big pillars again coming up. And then we put lots and lots of ribbon there, and as it was outside in Saint-Tropez, there was a little bit of a breeze. So the ribbon kind of like flowed a little bit like a very airy touch, and then the white flowers.
As Florian said, the aim of the company is to amaze people with flowers. And with this creation for Natasha, they definitely succeeded.
And that moment I will never forget. It was so funny. Uli and I were working there. It was quite a tough job. There was lots to do. And we just finished there, and she came to get into makeup. And she just said, "Ah, it's like my dream." And she gave Uli me a kiss off the cheek and just walked off to makeup, and that was just fantastic.
Another fashionable big-name client Seyd has worked for is the late Karl Lagerfeld.
We did for 4 years his Christmas party in Amsterdam. Once we did a winter forest where we had like a whole ceiling with white icy branches and white flowers hanging down, and then a very big dramatic tree trunk in the middle of the room. One year we had huge rings from white asparagus with all glitter, rain, ice drops in it. So it was always, or very often, black and white. I guess you get that. And then it was always very imaginary, very creative. And there was a lot of freedom, and it was very fun, very exciting to do.
But they're not just decorating venues. Commissioned by the Flower Council of Holland, Florian and his company also collaborated with two renowned Dutch fashion designers, Edwin Oudshoorn and Bas Kosters, to create several garments with real flowers worked into them.
Because they know how to make dresses, but not to work with flowers, they needed us to get their ideas done in reality. It was fantastic for us to work with them because they look at flowers differently. We look at a flower as a living thing, and what can we do to make it alive and to make it growing and make it flowering up. And they look at the flower more like a piece of fabric, you know, it's more like a color, a texture, a structure, and then they say we would like this and this and this. And we said, wait, if you do this, your flower will not be that nice. And they said, oh yeah, you're right. And then you just start working hand in hand. And at the end you make something where I would say in that case it was 80% them and 20% us. But the effect of the end was fantastic.
No strangers to the world of fashion in every aspect, the company often styles sets for photo shoots and runway shows as well. And it turns out there's a big difference between working on a still image or a live event.
I guess everybody knows that photography sometimes is a little bit fake. I mean, it's certainly you take a long time for one picture, but it's a build-up. And if you sometimes think one flower there or there would be better, sometimes you just add it and it's not connected to water. So I have to say, not everything, but sometimes photography there's a little bit of help. And if you work on a fashion show or on a real event, I mean, you have to prepare it before. So there's more timeline, and so that means there has to be water for flowers. So for example, in this wall, all the flowers have a little glass tube where there's water in it, so that tonight it will be great. If you just hang them dry in the air, you get semi-dry flowers, and that's not what we want. The fun thing is that sometimes in fashion, you can create atmospheres and moments, and maybe a little bit more than for like a wedding. I mean, some people like to go very well for the wedding, but then it's mostly wedding style. And in fashion, you can sometimes build a forest, you can build a desert, you can have tropical islands, you can really create atmospheres of places that go beyond the normal wish. And that's a lot of fun for us and seemingly good for them.